Hello guys, thank you so much for being here. What a beautiful evening it is today. I wanted to get back on here before it reaches dark and before it gets too cold and just talk about the beauty of presence, because being present has really gifted me so much joy in life. It has given me the opportunity to be a happier person, and I really wanted to talk about that topic because it is incredibly beneficial to my life, and I want it to be beneficial to yours. And anyway, if you're new here, my name is Brian Kiana. I make all videos on self-reflection, on love, on sobriety, just all the things that I've been learning about since becoming a mother. Yeah, let's get into it. So I wanted to firstly talk about a little topic, which obviously from presence standpoint, but I really wanted to talk about your ego, because your ego is huge in this practice of presence. Oftentimes when we think about our ego, we think about it in very obvious ways. We can easily pinpoint, oh, that was just my ego speaking. But we don't think about the more difficult circumstances, which is oftentimes when its ego is actually presenting itself as care. When we don't do certain things because we think we're thinking for the greater good for ourselves. We think we are looking out for ourselves. We think we're trying to avoid certain situations from happening again. We're trying to be mindful of our happiness, right? And what we're really doing is limiting ourselves, restricting ourselves from this level of freedom because we're so afraid to be perceived, so afraid to be seen or heard or felt. And it's so detrimental because we're constantly living in this version of ourselves, right? By believing that that self is still true today. We become this puppet of the past, as Ellen Watts loves to say. And why would we want to do that? And we're not being present ever. And the reason why that is a thief of joy, thinking of the past and predicting, how we should be in the future, is because it forces us to constantly reaffirm maybe a limiting belief that we have, right? Constantly reaffirm thought that we are believing in, right? Let's say, like even myself, I can even speak to myself. Let's not even talk hypothetically. I used to have a debilitating fear of leaving the house. So much so that COVID was great during pockets of my kind of deep depression and anxiety, because I could wear a mask, I could put my hood up, and that was so normalized. And I could feel small, I could feel hidden because I was so afraid of being seen, because I'd been told so many times I was ugly as a kid, that I had this big face and I had these braces, and I was so afraid of that I put on a mask and I put my hood up because I'd rather someone not see me, because I was convinced people looking at me would have those thoughts about myself. And all those thoughts that I had, those negative thoughts that were running through my mind, to me had become facts because it was reaffirmed by what I was seeing through my lens in the world, through this ego-driven lens. People were never concerned about that. People were never thinking about that. No one's thinking about what you look like when you just enter a store. You are a new face to them. They're not picking each insecurity that you have. That is a made-up belief that you have now made a fact in your head because you have reaffirmed it with arbitrary beliefs about the world through your way of thinking and how you are perceiving it. It is all perception-based. It is so important that we practice this presence because it allows us to even if it's just for a few times a day, it allows us to step away from constantly ruminating about all these things by just letting go of the past for just a second, and for absorbing what is for what is and not for what was. For looking at a person that you're walking by and not assuming that they're thinking you're ugly, but for just looking at them and going, wow, what a beautiful person. What a beautiful tree. What a beautiful bay of flowers. And for realizing that it's actually your mind that is your biggest critic. It is your biggest hater. And you're convincing yourself and keeping yourself in this way of believing and thinking by giving it power. Because your body has this automatic way of living, automatic way of being, right? Where every day you wake up and you brush your teeth and you go and wash your face, right? You do it on autopilot. You don't even realize that you're doing it. Sometimes you do it and you go, wow, did I just do all of that? Or you even forget that you did it. Did I brush my teeth? Yeah, I brushed my teeth. The same goes for these negative thoughts, these negative ways of thinking. You think so much about them that you're going to think about them again tomorrow without even realizing it. You think, oh, I hate myself. And then tomorrow, because you do it every day at that time, all of a sudden you're going to wake up and go, I hate myself. And you're going to wait. Why do I hate myself? Why do I keep saying I hate myself? Because it's so ingrained in your nervous system. It's so automatic for you, right? And so you need to snap out of that. You need to practice these daily moments of presence to allow yourself to ultimately eradicate this way of thinking. And so it involves just a moment of presence throughout the day. It involves kind of waking up and forcing yourself to do something different, to hold gratitude for a cup of coffee, for a cup of tea, for the way it feels, for the way it tastes. Just practicing that for a quick moment, for a quick second throughout your day is really, really helpful. When you start to become present, obviously, you always are going to think about certain ways and certain things, and I'm not saying that it's completely avoidable, but when you start to practice this level of presence and seeing yourself for who you are today, not for who you were, not for what was, right? Not for, when you look at your face, I want you to look at your face from your point of view. Not from the point of view from the bully that you had 10 years ago. I want you to look at your face and look at how beautifully it is crafted, how your eyes give you the gift to see yourself, how your mouth gives you the gift to create, to voice, to speak, how your nose gives you the gift to smell flowers, food, like chocolate. And how your ears give you the ability to hear music, to hear birds chirping, to hear the ocean. Like, just thinking about that makes me so emotional because our bodies are so capable of experiencing all this beauty, and yet we're so tied up on how we look. None of that matters. You have this ability to experience with all your senses this life that we've been gifted with. And when you start to view your life from that standpoint, things start to melt away. That voice starts to melt away of, oh, I thought I needed to be this way to be this. Like, no, you don't. When you start to see life for what it is and not for what it was, it truly becomes a lot more magical. And I think if being present is hard because your thoughts wander, try and just do an awareness exercise. Every day, a few times a day, or maybe every morning, instead of reaching for your phone, instead of doing that automatic thought process, I want you to just sit still and become aware. You can do it with your eyes open or your eyes closed. I'd like to do it with my eyes closed because it helps just calm me down. What can I hear right now? What can I feel right now? What clothes do I feel on my body? What does the air feel like? What does it smell like? What am I hearing? And if your eyes are open, what am I seeing? Even if you maybe step outside and really just absorb the world for a second, you're going to rewire your brain to think about positivity instead of negativity. You're going to rewire your brain to think about all the good and not all the bad. And it's really going to encourage you to slowly rewire your way of being and slowly become a more joyous person, because your body's going to wake up and go, oh my God, I tell myself I'm good every day. And then you're going to go, oh my gosh, this, I do it every day. This cup of tea is so freaking good. And now every day I literally look forward to that. It's like the best moment of my life. Even if I'm having a really hard day, I'm so grateful for those little moments, and it allows me to have these moments and pockets of solitude even when I'm really depressed, and that presence is that gift. So I encourage you all to take a deep breath like that. Because doesn't it feel so good to fill your lungs with air? I don't know. I I love you all so much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I know I gotta throw 'em in the sand. Girl, the other night we ran outside, I run that shit. What you wanna do when your mind get down into it? Tell me this and that, but girl, you know it. I know.